Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. So, unfortunately, it's with sad news. Some of you probably already know that the people in Tulsa, Oklahoma, whose property were burnt down many years ago when Tulsa, Oklahoma had what is known as Black Wall Street, they filed a case to have reparations, particularly just for that particular incident. And the judge denied it. She claimed that she didn't think it was fair that they would get reparations for what happened many years ago. I don't know how anybody could be so cold like that. You're telling me that people who worked hard, and even if it wasn't them, their parents, their grandparents worked hard, bought homes, bought businesses, it gets burnt down to the ground by an outrageous, torturous group of individuals, and nobody says we should be compensated. You see, back then, when it comes to insurance, because it was a riot, and many insurances do not cover riots, and they definitely didn't back then, none of those people were compensated for their loss. And as many of you know, those of you who know the history of Black Wall Street, particularly in Tulsa, Oklahoma, their properties were burnt down to the ground. It was rubble. And now, all of the properties that they own, because remember, those properties, it's not just the house, but it was the land on the house. It was all taken away. It's all taken away from them. So the few survivors that were left, because I believe one of them may have died, they were fighting for their reparations. They wanted to be compensated for that particular incident, and the judge denied it. So one would say, okay, well, you see, what do we do? You see what happens. Here's the thing. When it comes to judges, every state is different as to how judges are selected or appointed. Okay? These district court judges, they're not appointed by the president. They are appointed by a number of other ways. Number one, the people vote them in. That's right. I have been voting since I was in my 20s, and I'm in my 50s now. So that's about 30 years, right? And I know that from time to time, normally on the back of the ballot, it lists different judges. Now, what I don't like is that a lot of times these judges, they don't campaign, so you don't always know what they're for and what they're against. But here's the thing, here's the beauty. We have cell phones, we have tablets now, so guess what? Yes, I will go in my tablet and I will look up each judge and what they are about. And if I'm not mistaken, there is a site called Ballotopedia that will tell you what they voted on and what they did not vote on. Because, you know, a lot of people, they'll say they're for one thing, but then when they get their position, they do something completely opposite, right? So I look at that as well. Okay, that's what I do. But you know what? Unfortunately, many people will not vote for a judge because they weren't prepared, or they didn't know that there was a judge that was up for election. That's number one. And number two, I don't think a lot of people are aware of what the judges that are on the ballot are actually doing. And they definitely don't know, number three, what the judge stands for. So I would like to encourage everybody, take this as a lesson, not as a loss. Okay? As a matter of fact, even though, yes, the survivors are 102 years old, they say they're going to appeal. That's another thing that bothers me. Someone even mentioned to me online, stating that being that they are up in years, the least this country could do is not charge them taxes. But no, you know how politicians are with their taxes. So yes, they're going to still pay taxes. Probably not as much because they are senior citizens. But with what they've been through, honestly, I agree with the guy. They shouldn't pay any taxes at all. All right. So, the other thing I wanted to tell you, going back to how they are elected, how judges are elected, or selected rather, sometimes they're appointed by the governor of the state. So again, you are the one that selects the governor of your state. You have a definite direct vote. And most of you know who's running for governor. The only problem is most of you don't go to the elections for the governor. When it comes to, which elections you guys go to, most people tend to go to the presidential elections, but it's very important to go to the government elections, especially if you are in a state where the governor selects the judges. Okay, I'm not really clear, to be honest, how Oklahoma does it specifically, so I'm just going over it with you. Okay, next you have some states where they use an electoral college, and the electoral college will determine who will be the judge for these district courts, because it was a district court judge that made that particular ruling. Okay, so again, for the most part, elections are important. So many people tell me no, they're not. And then you have those who don't believe in the smaller elections. But in this particular case, we can see, no matter how you cut it, no matter how you slice it, it all boils down to who you elect and who you put in office. It's important not only to just listen to what they say, but also look at the fruits of their labor. What did they actually vote for? What do they actually stand for? And I'm going to tell you something else too. You know what else is quite revealing? Actually going to your state capital. Yes, I went to my state capital earlier this year, and I spoke to someone who has been going up there for many years, and he actually holds office. It was an office that I wasn't even aware of, particular title, position. And believe it or not, there are some positions that you can just actually volunteer for a while, and you can get to know people, and you get to know, like, from my understanding, you really get to know who's real and who's just blowing smoke. Okay? But one thing he said to me is this. He says, when you go to the Capitol and you walk around, take note of who says hello to you and who doesn't. Especially if you say hello first and they choose not to say hello back to you. That's saying something about them. It's not saying something negative about you. Okay? So I want you guys to really keep that in mind. And moving forward, if we want to see change in this country, in this world, we got to be a little bit more progressive. We got to be a little bit more unified. Because you can't, I don't care what these gurus say, I don't care what other people say, you cannot separate real estate from politics. They are tied together. And a lot of people who say things like, oh, real estate and politics are not tied together. Well, when laws were changed, when Obama changed some laws, they got pissed. Then when Trump got into office, people were pissed. Those same real estate investors who say, oh, there's no tie between politics and real estate, that all you got to do is pivot. Yes, pivot. But sometimes those laws can really, really hurt. Look at the people who were invested in Airbnb, and now it's illegal where they are at, right? So please get out there and vote. Vote all the way down, not just for the president, for your governor, for your mayor, for your judges. And if you see a ballot and you do not know all of the people on the ballot, take time, go through your phone, look them up, and see what they've done. And then the other thing that I'm definitely going to do, because I did it before, complain to your League of Voters. There is definitely someone you can complain to, or complain to your local representative and let them know, hey, what is this? How come, we have all these extra positions on our ballot. All these people are running for these positions. I don't know what the positions are for. Say this to them. I don't know what the positions are for. I don't know what they do. And then the individuals, they never campaign. So I don't even know what they stand for. What can we do? What can be done to change that? Believe it or not, it can change. Because like I said, I had another problem where I don't want to get too deep into it, but let's just say that they did not send me to the right site when it came to voting. A few years, they wanted me to go way to the other side of Manhattan to vote instead of in my own neighborhood, to make a long story short. So I went to the League of Women Voters and I complained about that, and I said, I don't understand why this is. And the very next year, it was changed, and I haven't had that problem ever since. Okay, so yes, I believe that now, especially all my Oklahoma people in Tulsa, now that you see that Judge Wall, that's her name, has ruled against reparations for the Tulsa, Oklahoma incident, riot that displaced many affluent black families. Just figure out, how does your state put her in office? Was she voted in? Or did you vote a governor that appointed her in? Or was it the Electoral College? Or how did she get there? And note that those positions last anywhere between 6 and 10 years. So as soon as the next election rolls around, if you, like me, and you're disgusted with that ruling, you will not vote her back in. All right? So guys, that's all I wanted to say to you. That's all I wanted to share. Feel free to share this amongst your friends. Remember, each one reach one, teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.